it's Jackie and welcome back to my channel for an updated Rose from the Titanic tutorial. I had so much fun revisiting this beautiful look. I did this years and years ago and some of you guys have been requesting an updated version and I had a lot of fun with this. I'm sponsored by the most gorgeous brand called Florasis for this video, and it's a luxury Chinese beauty brand. You might have seen the products before. I had seen it already from it going viral on Twitter, and oh my gosh, I thought it was just so perfect for a rose look because it looks so luxurious and there's floral ingredients within all their products and they have a rose highlighter. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more pop culture tutorials every week. And I love it when you guys tag me on Instagram if you try out any of the looks on my channel so I can feature you. Love to see you switching up your style with confidence. And let's get started with this iconic look. I have already recreated this rose updo from following my older tutorial that's now from 5 years ago. Yes, it's been 5 years. Let me know if you've seen that video and I'll have it linked. And as always, make sure your skin is prepped with moisturizer, and let's start with foundation. I went with a shade that's neutral but has a little bit more of a yellow tint to cancel out any redness in my skin, and all the products I'm using today are by Fluoresces from the Chinese brand Wyers, and this is an iconic brand in China, not yet available in North America. So I'm sure some of you guys will be wanting to get your hands on these gorgeous products, but for now we just have to wait, and I feel lucky to have tried these. But no worries, I will have shades on screen, especially for the eyeshadow, so if you want to follow this tutorial now, you can always use what you have, but it was so much fun to use these Regal products and keep your eyes out for them. And a staple feature for Rose is very matte powdered skin. That was definitely the style of makeup which we're going for, and we still see it a lot in classic Chinese beauty with a bold red lip, which we'll also be recreating. I was watching Lisa Eldridge's channel and I saw the actual makeup artist Tina Earnshaw really powder the skin for the Titanic look, so I'm using this gorgeous setting powder. It has a round shape to the powder, but it isn't loose, but then when you pat on it, some of the product does lift up and it's really great for oil control. I've said this before, but Asian beauty brands, powders and liquid liners tend to be superior. For this rose look, using a sponge or a powder puff, which feels very vintage, really mattifies rather than a soft fluffy brush like I normally would use if I was going for more of a dewy look. Now that we have a beautifully powdered base, let's move on to contour and highlight. And I just have a bit of discoloration under my eyes. I'm going to use the brightening shade, which has a slight sheen to it, by my tear duct because I could see some blue peeking through, and I'm going to add this to my chin and cheekbones. Has a really subtle glow for more dimension to the face. Instead of always layering concealer, you could just use a lighter powder or even a matte eyeshadow to touch up areas. We're gonna go really light with this contour. I find for most celebrity tutorials, I do quite a bit of contouring, so this is nice to keep it a bit more subtle. And I'm super pale like Rose, but you can do this look with any skin tone. To adjust the contour to you, you want it to be 3 or 4 shades deeper than your actual skin tone and slightly cooler, so it looks more like a shadow than a bronzer. And I'm going to quickly do a rose-inspired nose contour. My nose is pretty similar to hers, so I'm adding a slight shadow between my brows and onto the nose bridge to connect my features more, and then I'm fading around the nostrils to slightly widen my nose, and I'm adding a couple little details that I can see in the image I'm using for reference. And now let's move on to this stunning palette. This has eyeshadow, blush, highlighter, and it looks like a piece of art with all the beautiful embossing. This is a feature Florasis does really well. A little more about their name, it comes from Flora and sister, meaning the goddess of flowers. And really interesting, when I traveled to Asia in 2019, I toured a bunch of beauty headquarters and florals were a huge part in creating cosmetics, which is pretty unique. I feel like we don't see that as heavily in North America, but I'm sure it will come over more and more. So every product by Florasis has flower extracts or Chinese herbal ingredients. I'm going to use both blush shades. I kind of want to do another Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice makeup look for Barely There spring makeup, so let me know if you like that idea. And then for a pop of color, I'm taking the brighter shade and I'm applying just to the apples at the cheeks. For brows, I'm brushing up, and this is the powder eyebrow pencil, and this was perfect for getting Rose's soft brows. To me, it looks like there was just a bit of powder through her brows, but I always use a fine tip pencil. So this is the best of both. It's a fine tip, yet it still creates that very soft powdered look. You can either use a bit of powder through your brows, or if you use a waxy pencil, make sure you really blend it out so you get that soft diffused brow, like this oil-free brow powder / pencil creates. And can't forget Rose's beauty mark. I don't know if anyone's picked up on this, but I always do looks opposite to the side of the actress. This is because I only photograph well on one side, so I just like mirror the image, I don't know. I could have got away with just using the one palette, but I also have the Peony Exquisitely Carved Flower Pattern Eyeshadow, and this has even more carvings into it. It's gorgeous, and it has this pinky red that I'll be using on the lid. First, take a fluffy brush and use the sheer light pink and apply all over the lid. Then with the deepest brown in the palette, I'm going to fade into the crease, and you don't want to bring this up too high, but softly define your eye shape. And this eyeshadow look is very soft and airy, so pick a small amount on your brush and go with satin finish rather than like stark mattes. I find satiny shadows blend together so easily and look effortless. On a more precise brush, I'm going to bring in more of a warm brown, and I really like how this makes the eyes pop. And then with the deeper shade, again, I'm going more precise on the lower outer lash line, and I also took a bit of the warmish red brown through my brows to match my hair a bit. I really wanted to use this light blue, but not today, not for this look, and I'm going to pick up the second palette, and I'm taking the rich reddish pink and lightly dusting this on the top of the lid. With the lightest highlight shade accenting my brow bone and blending over the lid one more time. I really wanted to try out this blush, so even though I've already layered two, I'm popping that one on the cheek one more time, and then you can take an angled brush and either wet your brush or add some setting spray, tap this into a black or black-brown shadow, and let's line the eye as close as possible to the lash line. Don't extend past the eye, we're going to keep this line very subtle. Super easy and fast. And finally, I'm taking the gold from the palette and applying to my bottom waterline in the center. I'm not sure if this was lighting in the shot that I'm looking at, but it looks stunning, and I think I did this in the first rose makeup tutorial I did as well, so I just really like how it looks. And you can use a cake liner or pencil liner on the top lash line, but I feel like shadow's just the easiest. Like the most foolproof, just make sure you wet your brush so it's as easy as possible. I have three gorgeous shades here. First, the Flower Galaxy lipsticks. These have a carved pattern with cuckoo and azalea. They are semi-matte and have more of a moist texture, and I love when products pay homage to their culture. I think it's so cool to collect and have items from all around the world. So I wanted to test out each shade until I found the perfect rose shade. For the lip shape, Rose has a fuller and rounder upper lip than me, so I'm overlining and keeping the cupid's bow prominent. You can use a nude lip liner to plan this out. I wanted to show the lipsticks without any base so you could see the color. This is a pretty spring color, but it's not exactly Rose's shade, so next up let's try a more true red. And the last two that I had swatched are demi matte, so they're super pigmented, very smooth, and they have a moist texture to them. And finally, let's go with the Florasis Lock Style lipstick. This is such an eye-catching product. I also saw this go viral on TikTok, and the appearance of the lipstick and lipstick case is the shape of a lock, and the inspiration for this appearance is the love locks, and there's a Chinese romantic love story carved into the actual lipstick. It is so stunning, and it's a matte texture. It's very matte, and I've just dabbed it onto my lips because I want it to look worn in. Patting into place, and there's the rose look. I wish I went a little bit heavier with eyeliner on my upper lash line. I feel like that would have made this look a bit more bang on. I was paying too much attention to my hair, and I wish I got that detail a little bit more perfect, but all you want to do is have soft shadows, a bit of liner, matte powdered skin, and berry red lips, and you'll look very regal and like Rose. As for this costume, the neckline was quite high, so I cut it, but poorly. You can kind of see my blue bra in some of these shots, but you might have to alter it depending on your preferences. And then the necklace was from Amazon, but I rearranged the original and added a pearl for more of an exact look, and I antiqued it with black eyeshadow over the crystals. I can't get over the gorgeous packaging, like so cool, and I don't know why I just thought Rose from the Titanic. Like I know that's not their theme or anything, but I love like the ocean, and it looks so regal with all the gold in there and all the engravings. So if you guys want to check out this brand, I'll have more information down below. And if you're looking for Rose from the Titanic hairstyles and you want to keep on watching, check out my old tutorial. It is very old now, but I still used it to recreate this updo. So I think I really wouldn't change anything from that video, but I definitely would update my makeup look. So I hope this one was better. And also you can check out the Bridgerton series of hairstyles if you love Daphne's looks, and I hope to see you in my next video.